And you good? Okay. All right, so let's start it off here. I'll do myself here. I got my cheat sheet here. I'll do my best. Buju asabi kane zaga igining. Anin and Dunaway Magani Duk. Misko Benes Indigenous Cause. Nigizi Nindundem. Onanami Zagay Gun Indunjba. Na Na Namidana Na Nun Nindaso Bibun Nagiz.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm 55 years old. Bungi etago nata Anishinaabe mo win. So I know just I say I didn't know just a little bit, but I probably know a good amount. Let's see. Miu migwech bizendawiye nashki benes kinitam.
Nashki benes Indigenous Cause. Makwa na do them. Speak unes agagan and dunjba. Nisimidina babunigis migwech wendam amayan. Gagayonuk gintam.
Buju, Minokisheb, Nukamis Indigenous Cause, Sabikune Zagigan, Ashkunigan, and Dunjaba, Net Lake Reservation, Ashkunigan, in Dunjaba, Pane, all the time. Kawins, a dignity dam, Nishwaswe, a she, Nishwaswe, maybe Bunikis, Nungo. Me had to go, Miki Kitu Nungo. Me ill, me gwetch, Bizendan.
All right. So those are our introductions, and yeah, we're gonna move on from here, and we're gonna bring you today's word list. Is it?
Oh, I didn't have one today, but she has a list that
Okay.
she's finishing from that. What was it? A women's symposium or a seminar that you held with the ladies here.
Okay. So yesterday, Auntie Karen was invited to do a presentation with Peyton Count's. What was that program called again?
You song about healing.
Oh yeah, traditional healing. Yeah. And what she does is she puts on these events, these community events, and brings in our elders and our community experts or community knowledgeable people to come and present, subjects of traditional way of life. And so one of the things that she covered yesterday, which is a very important topic for all communities, as far as Anishinaabe are concerned, is the role of women. Am I right? That's kind of what you talked about yesterday? Okay. All right, so I'm going to let Auntie Karen go on with her subject matter here. I know she said she ran out of time yesterday. I think they allotted an hour, and of course a lot of these subjects go on, and even further, deeper as far as the spirituality aspects of things, but just in general, some of the general practices, and I'm sure there's a spiritual significance involved in all of this culturally, of course, and there are reasons that these things are observed in a specific way. So on that front, you can probably, are you connected to our Facebook there, Perry?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So if you have any questions today, you can continue on and ask those questions. If some of you were at the event yesterday, that's very good. And Auntie Karen here is going to share a little bit more about what transpired and some of the subjects. I hope.
Okay, me gawin o gizi tamin bijinago. we didn't finish yesterday, but probably would have took another hour to go, but I think what Peyton decided was to have these talks once a month. I'm not sure yet, but it was just brought up yesterday that maybe September, the end of September, we'll have another one at the Elder Building. I don't know yet, but she'll probably tell you, about. But I didn't get done yesterday. I had lost people. I had clans to go through. I had colors. I had gardens. I had seasons. It would have took probably another hour. You could go on and on and on with these stuff. They just kind of connect to each other. And like colors, it could come into like dreams, Indian names, ceremonies, because there's four colors. But yeah, that was a good turnout yesterday. I was thinking there would only be about Nanan Quayag. I was thinking, there'll only be 5 ladies, but there was like 14 sitting around there, and that felt good to have people learning. And that's what I said, the purpose of this was for the adults to teach their children, what it was like long time ago, and tell them things, so they'll know, and they'll probably tell their children, about things from long time ago, Indians that were here way before, but that was my purpose of trying to do these things, is just let people know, because I don't know what's gonna, they'll probably have a lot of information on things like this, videos or whatever, because there's only 2 of us now that are alive today, me and Harvey Dodson, that we could go talk to, and it's just that we have to go and visit our other elders too, like Squeak, Lloyd even, and I got a whole list that they could go just visit, or if they can't come up here, they can go down there and talk with them to get more information. They probably have different information than me, I don't know. Like, because a long time ago, all families on the res were traditional, until in the 50s when people, came moving in, late maybe the 60s, and there was a lot of people that moved away. Now I see there's a lot of them that moved back from the cities, especially elders that are moving back on the res. They're coming back, but I don't know what's gonna Nagiba Wajagay de Bikung. I said I dreamt last night again. Minawa Nagiba Wajagay de Bikung. I was dreaming of black smoke. Nagiba Wajagay. How you say smoke is bakwa Nizi Bikwani. That's how you say smoke. And Bakwane Magut is smoky, something smoky. But I could see this great big black smoke. It was really big and high, pitch black, like. And when I got up, I told my grandson, I said, I don't like the dream I had. The bikong, I said, the ginebon, when I went to sleep. I said, that ain't a good dream, black. I said, then smoke, I said. He said, why, what does that mean? I said, well, it probably means sickness or death, you know, and I hate dreaming like that. But that's what I Ngibawachige. Remember, that's how you say dream, Bawachige. That's the same way you say a dream catcher, Bawachigan. Only it's Bawachigan, Bawachige, and Bawachigan. That's a dream catcher.
Well, it's the name of Leland. It's Little Lee. Well, Leland Lisi, as the band members know him, but that's the name of his new album, Bawajigun. Oh, Dreamcatcher.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was something with dream.
Yeah, Bawachigan.
Bawajigun.
Bawachige is when you have a dream. And, you know, and that's where dreams can go on, like colors. I didn't get to, there's like 4 colors, or see, everything's a number 4, 4 colors. And my color is blue. My daughter's color is blue. And, you know, and that's where we get our dreams from getting our Indian names. They either come with a color or a gift of like a red blanket. And that's one of my grandson's colors. The guy gave him a red blanket that he should keep. He should keep forever, not whatever, but he still has his red blanket, and that's his color, red. And there's like white. Like I know my niece, Corinne Whiteman, has a white. Her color must be white, because when Jessie gave her an Indian name, she had to have a white scarf, like a white silk scarf, given to her, and she was supposed to hang that up in her bedroom. And you know, and they give you things like you know, even like I named one of Kay Strong's daughters, and her name is in English it's Rainbow Lady. In Anishinaabe, Rainbow.
Negweb.
Negweb, yeah.
Okay.
Negwiabikwe. That's Rainbow Lady. You see Ikwe on the end. Negwiab is, but what I gave her a gift. I gave her something with a towel, I think, or rainbows, a bunch of rainbows all over it, and that's what she's supposed to keep as her, I don't know what you would call it, just a gift, or they're supposed to keep. So sometimes you're given a feather, and if that, you have to keep that feather for the rest of your life. Like I was given my feather by an old lady by the name of Mrs. Chicago. They called her Edwes. And that's all I knew her as, Mrs. Chicago, because she didn't have an English name. It was just Edwes. And that was Chicago's. I can't explain them, but they were lived up by where probably where toward the health office, that way up there by Dorothea's house. That's where they lived. And you know, that's a lot of colors come through. And that's why I say pay attention to your dream. You should have a color. That's where I found. I almost forgot about my kids' colors, but I had them all written down. You know, my daughter has blue in the blue color. Carly, she has blue. I know, I think my son, the one that passed away, his color was white. And, you know, and I wondered, you know, sometimes you really don't, if you like your color, if you like a color, maybe that's the color you're supposed to have. Like when I painted my house, my living room, I automatically picked out blue without even thinking, you know, and so you could find out what color. If you like a color, maybe that's the color you're supposed to have. Or, you know, but a long time ago, that's the way it was with colors. And they could, I have a paper of how to make colors, but I remember I gave a copy to Renee when we worked together at Head Start. I gave her a copy on how to make Indian colors, and I can't find mine. It's there somewhere, but I got so much papers to look through. And I know that one about blue, that was blue, you use blueberries to make color blue, some kind, and sometimes it almost makes purple, you know, so I don't, there's more about colors than I said I'm going to drink water first.
All right. Well, while you're taking your drink there, we're going to be giving away a prize today.
Yep.
And Perry, why don't you let everybody know what they got to do in order to.
All right. We received 2 donations yesterday from Renee Bardo. One was a sea salt lamp. It like causes like, it's one of those lamps that emits like a nice fragrance, so it like causes you to be like serene and calm.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is a mini fridge that can hold up to 6 cans, brand new, still in the box. So we'll be giving, what do you want to give one away?
We'll give the fridge away.
Oh, nice.
And but we have like, that would be good for college kids or anybody that wants us to, you know,
Mhm.
Students, perfect. Yep.
keep pop cool, and you know. And,
How does that say?
Dakasin.
Dakasin?
The cost.
Dakasidjigun is out.
Dakasidjigun.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what we're going to be giving away today. Bungi.
Yeah.
Bungi Dakasidjigun.
You would say, how would you say, a little, how would you say little?
It ain't a Janace, is it? No, that's because that's talking, a Janace. Talking a little while.
Yeah,
A little,
Or small, probably.
yeah, agashi. See, I have to think a little while.
Agashi.
Agashi Dakasidjigun. A small refrigerator.
Small refrigerator.
Dakasin. No, not Dakasin. Jeez, what the?
Yeah, Agashi Dakasidjigun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
agashi. That's small. Agashi. I gotta remember that. There's so many words that sound alike, you know, and you gotta really think before you talk. Agashi Dakasidjigun.
I was gonna read you off something that I read on the Ojibwe language table. It was interesting, but yeah. So, Jibwa Maj Tamin Ayani Kikudu Dikawadukuishin Kana Mayok Nukamis Kakikadu Gidabajitu Anishinaabe Moon. So I said before we start, I'm going to talk a little bit. Please help all that are here. And my grandmother said to use your language. But I forgot Gabe Gijik every day.
Yeah. Kita Abajia or Abajitun.
Abajitun.
Kabegi.
So somebody 4 years ago named Christy Belcourt read that, and it's a paragraph, but it's on language revitalization. And she says, I want to tell everyone, public schools won't save our languages. They can't. It's the wrong forum. As amazing as teachers and students are, public schools aren't enough. Unless the school is 100% immersion, we need language houses, language nests, and language camps everywhere. Tell the schools, sorry, we are pulling our kids out for a week of every month until our kids are fully fluent. Or sorry, we created education on the land. We are pulling our kids out for a few years permanently until we have a good sized pool of our children fully fluent again, triple fluent, LOL. Laugh out loud. We have languages to save, and hoping public schools alone cannot do it simply has proven in the last 30 years that it's not enough. Not one fluent speaker has come out of a public school program yet. Because public school administration doesn't have the goal of fluency unless they are language schools or immersion schools. Camp, nests, elders, immersion, these things work. Immersion schools work. So that's the answer then. So,
Well, I would agree because and just hearing something like that.
That's what I wanted to. I read that yesterday, and I wanted to get you and Ms. Kobanese and Gage Winnook's perspective on it.
Well, I thought, it's probably true, as far as public schools go. You're always trying to set your lesson plans or to everybody in the classroom, like no child left behind philosophy, like you're not gonna, what would you call it? You're not gonna teach to the one that's struggling and then teach to the ones that are picking it up and grasping it, and maybe it even seems like a natural kind of a thing, where they're more advanced. And so it's hard to gear your teaching to the entire spectrum of learners, and everybody's got a different background. And I think that's why with that statement, I think it's something that I've experienced. And I'm 55 years old. Been a long time since I've been in high school or grade school, but I can remember being exposed to the language, and like I was telling you guys in previous shows, a lot of the lessons were just repeated, not only just in the lower grades, first, second, and third, but also in the fourth, fifth, and sixth. So you had the same word list, the same
Commands,
yeah, and that was about it. And then getting up into high school, we thought we were going to get more advanced, like usage, I don't know how to explain it, maybe concepts, or what I mean, beyond just the regular.
A better continuity of
and just how to do the. I think they've broken up. What do you call it? Verb, animate, verb. All the English definitions of the language applied to Anishinaabe Moen, and that's why they talk about it being like a verb-oriented and action-oriented language, and so I think it was really, or it is really hard for public schools to kind of deal with that, the varied levels of vocabulary. And so each year they probably have new students that come in, and so somebody might be struggling, and so it's hard to bring them back up to speed, And of course, behind all of this, the immersion schools and public schools, if you want to draw a line there, I do believe with that. I do believe in that comment. I'm starting to kind of be converted to that part where we got to do a lot of these immersion camps, these, what does she call them, nests?
Yep, language nests.
Yeah, and all these things, and then try to just concentrate on, I don't know what it would be. And more, like deal with the ones that are more advanced, deal with the ones that are just starting out, and just have these different little nest pods, I guess, So if you're a beginner, you can stay with the beginners. If you're more advanced, then, you know what I mean? There should be a group somewhere out there, a smaller group that, you can kind of go to, and Auntie Karen can, I'm pretty sure she can adjust her, or any educator, any fluent person should be able to kind of adjust their usage and vocabularies and into from beginning level all the way up to these advanced fluent individuals. But
And there's plenty of speakers. When I went down to that Kisakola concert we had
Mhm.
down in the cities, I heard Jackie Wilson talking about a guy named Meme Ngwasi
Mhm.
or Meme Ngwesi.
Mhm.
She said he's a pretty efficient speaker, and he has a brother that can speak the language as well. So there's plenty of speakers, like my grandmother, myself, him.
Mhm.
You know a lot. A lot of people around that lake know a lot, even though they act like they don't. We just gotta draw it out. Like that's all it is.
What do you think, Auntie?
Well, before I tell you what I think is, you can call in at 11 o'clock with 5 racing words at 11 o'clock. Midaswe Shibeshik Debaikanek. Call in and give 5 racing words. Call KBFT.
Yeah, you can use our number, 218-248-0167. Wait a minute. Okay. I don't know if that's going to work. I couldn't use my phone. Yeah, of course, it's got to be something in a way.
Then they can call mine.
Okay, they can call yours. Give your number out there.
218-750-7268. Sometimes it don't ring.
Oh yeah, because it's still on silent from Tuesday. Sorry, Graham.
It was okay yesterday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, but it's good now. Okay. Well, what I think about what they said about keeping your children, for a week, or then they should try to get fluent speakers from if they're on a res, or I think that's the best place to learn is on a Shunikan, your reservation, and then take their kids there for a week and just have them immersion, have it like immersion, but like here, when I taught elementary, my friend was out for a month. He had a heart attack or something happened with him. Anyway, I was up there, and that's all I did talk to them is just in the language, like I'd say, Bindigan, Namatibin, Bizan, Bizindan. Come in, sit down, be quiet and listen, Then when I'd want them to come, I'd say, Ambeo Ma, come in. If they didn't know what I meant by Ambeo Ma, I motion them with my finger, like Ambeo Ma. And, because they get to know, but it's hard. Well, we had all Anishinaabe, Binuji. We had all Indian kids except for Bejik. One little boy that wasn't Indian, and he was there, but his parents, for a while there, he was taking my tobacco, and I'd pass out tobacco like twice a week to the kids, and he would take it, and he must have went home and told his parents. So next day he came, he said, I can't take your tobacco. And I said, oh, okay, I understand. So and he was a little boy that was very interested in the language, and he knew he had a good pronunciation with the words, and he just knows he was very interested with the stories, everything. But they moved off Net Lake and Squinigun, they moved off, and but then somebody was posting on about going. They were up to Lac LaCroix, and they said even the children are speaking up there. Well, I said, if somebody really wants to learn their language that bad, they should go stay in Lac LaCroix for a month or two, and just ask somebody, pay them to live with them, and just learn from them. Because I don't think we're going to get that here, maybe in the school where people can. They used to have elders go into schools, even if they were in a wheelchair. They got to go in, maybe an hour a day or something, just to talk and with the kids, But that's really wanting to get it back. But we don't have that here, Hopefully we can get something going before I go and Harvey goes, and
Well, I think one of the things we could do, Perry, is to that thing idea about the nest and all of that. We could just keep the language immersion groups together. Maybe schedule more often. Even though they're not particularly. Like you said, Auntie, they usually get about 20 people that'll start out a group, and then all of a sudden it gets down to 2 or 3,
Then
So
what I think too would happen is if they did end up implementing that idea, a lot of these kids are, will probably refuse. Not in a negative way.
mhm.
You can't make somebody speak a language if they don't want to speak it.
Right, yeah.
But I mean,
But there's those ones that we should support.
focus on.
Yeah, the ones that are
interested.
in that, yeah. And even at that, at least the opportunity was there. I know, like a lot of elders, they always kind of regret, when you interview them, they said, geez, I wish I would have, listened more, or I wish I would have tried to ask more questions, growing up. But that was just the way of life at that point in time, and we're kind of in a different period now, where there's quite a few, I would say. I don't want to say everybody's trying to relearn our language and our culture, but that's the kind of thing that always goes together, and that's one of the things that I learned probably maybe 7 years ago, just through working with people through the radio station, trying to find more ways to incorporate language, like we're trying to do here on the air. And one of the things I know that was kind of stressed to me was, the language and the culture. You can't do that without the spirituality, and you can't do the spirituality without the language or the culture, ceremony and all that kind of stuff. It all kind of goes together, and that's what was really beautiful about everything, is just how integrated it was. And I don't want to say that it doesn't apply today, because we can go to Zups and get our meats, or we can get our vegetables, or we can get anything like that. But you can kind of see, like, where this modern day life, where everything is oriented towards money, Junia. And so that's the focus. We always try to make our way through life with money, like we were talking about earlier, being broke down with your vehicle and not having gas, and having to to get your having to have a job, you know, and so I think a lot of people are would struggle to find a way to live in that philosophy. I don't want to say that they don't want to live that way, you know, but there's always this feeling that, or this sense, or maybe it's just a prejudice, maybe, you know, that okay, if that person's a traditional person, they don't want to work. They don't want to do this. They don't want to go out and earn this or that, you know, and so it's kind of a stigma also, I think, and that comes from early on, you know, where, I mean, we didn't need that. We didn't need the money, you know. We could just go out and get our food. We could just go out and pick our food. We could just go out and, you know what I mean? We had everything, you know. We were very wealthy people. We understood the land. We lived in it. We survived with it. We communed with it, you know, and we respected it. And so everything was just, you know what I mean? The whole value system was really different back in them days, you know. And today, even though it might have a negative, you know, and I can kind of see where people view that in saying, well, that's a traditional person. They don't want anything to do with oil. They don't want anything to do with money. They don't want anything to do with, you know, those kind of modern computers and all that kind of stuff. But that's just really a misnomer, you know, like it's not true, you know, of anyone. People just want to live. They want to be happy, you know.
You know, Anthony likes that. What did he say? Chinese, where he's learning some of the language.
He's learning Japanese.
Japanese, and I told him, you know, Anthony, you should learn your language. You know. Well, he said, I know a lot, just living with you, but you know, that's so, like me, I don't like Spanish. I don't care to learn Spanish because I know I won't talk Spanish to anybody. And I can't go nowhere. Nobody's talking Spanish anyway. Maybe only them, whoever can. But like they said, learn your language first.
Yeah.
Then everything else will follow.
Right.
See your things. But that's the way I still believe. And I think this year there's a lot more people that are trying to learn than ever before.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's good. You know, that's.
Well, what I want to do through the radio station is just make it a conversation, you know, make it open up some of these ideas about, you know, maybe they're barriers, you know, I don't know, maybe they're ill accepted concepts, you know, that really have no basis other than suppressing our way of life, our traditional way, you know, and shunning people. I think that still is with us today, you know, where we're shaming people, like, oh yeah, they're calling it, well, I don't want my, you know, my child learning anything in a traditional sense, you know, because that's just what we just heard something like that. Me and Tony just heard something about that the other day. Somebody was talking and they were referring to it as what was it? Was it caveman? Tone? Did somebody say caveman or something along those lines? I don't want my kid learning any caveman stuff. Yeah, I mean that's how it. We just the other day we heard that, you know, and so that's the kind of thinking I think that people really need to kind of look inside and say, you know, what kind of behavior is that? You know, where did I learn that from? Why am I saying that? Why do I think that? You know, and I don't know if people are can look at themselves in that way, but you know what I mean? Like we're saying, you know, you grew up around Indian people, and it's a beautiful way of life, you know, if you really get down to it, and see the connections that you gain just through your community, the people that you love, your family, your relatives, you know, the lakes, you know, and the seasons and the beauty and harvesting game, you know, animals, and finding ways to use all that material and things that you were taught, you know, growing your own vegetables and sustaining your own family through, you know, ways that are part of this land, you know, and so you feel that connection to it. And there's a lot of people that are after that, you know what I mean? I mean, there's people that go and pay thousands of dollars to go and be part of a new age. Well, I think they call it new age. Like going to a sweat, paying $1,000 to a shaman, you know, somewhere at this luxurious resort, and you're paying, you know, $1,000 a night and maybe $5,000 for the sweat, you know, and that's kind of what those, you know why they're doing that? Because they need fulfillment, you know, and that's already what we had. That's why I say I think it's important, especially to our youth who feel like they're lost, like there's nothing for them in this world, you know. I think it's very important that we carry these concepts through and understand the value and love ourselves, you know, love one another.
Well, and too, it's like, you know, these kids go to school, like how my experience was. I could speak the language. Nobody knew it. Few people knew it, but it's like you go into that setting, that environment, you start speaking your language. Them kids are going to look at you like, what is he speaking? Is he speaking in tongues? Or like what you just said, that negative stereotype of, oh, that's caveman, caveman language, or that negative stigma is still there. We just have to find a way to fix it and eradicate it. And I think the process of doing that would be with what this lady talked about with the public schools. Like, that's what she means when she says public schools can't save our language. These kids can't go there and they can speak it. You know, it's not against the law to speak the language in these schools, but at the same time, it's like they're going to be getting side-eyed looks from every angle. And
well, I think you know, and we got to say this: we're not totally knocking, or at least I'm not totally knocking public.
No, I'm not either. I'm not either.
Language classes or culture classes. I mean, I think it's fantastic that they expose not just our students, but they expose our non-native students to it, and it's an option for them to take it because they can take Anishinaabe Mowin as a second language. That's not just available for native people. Mm-hmm. You can use Anishinaabe Mowin if it's available in your school as a second language, and a lot of students do. I know there was a lot of criticism early on when a lot of these programs kind of came around and first got organized at the University of Minnesota Duluth. I don't know about other campuses, but they had quite a bit of interest from non-natives, and so they were coming in taking these classes, and that's what they're there for, you know, to teach and expose all these people to Anishinaabe way of life and to learn the history and to learn, you know. But they really picked up on the culture and they really picked up on the language, and they ran with it, you know. I'm always amazed that you run into somebody, you know what I mean? And I asked them, I said, are you native? And they're like, no. Well, where did you learn this? Oh, I learned this at college, and I picked up some books, and, you know, here I am, you know, and they're just impressive of their knowledge of the language, Anishinaabe Mowin.
I know when I worked at Head Start, I seen all the directors that I went through, like maybe 14 directors that come and went. And there's a lot of them that got interested in the language and the culture, mostly all of them, because of the stories we'd tell and the language we'd speak. I know there was this one lady, she later on, she must have been really interested because she's told me, I've seen her somewhere, and she told me she had 2 kids. I have 2 daughters now, she said, and they got every book Indian book that that I read them, and she said they're really interested in the language, and they were non-Indian, you know. And our cook was even we hung around with her, me, Clara, and Mavis, and we were friends with her. She was a cook here. Remember Jean Inkman?
Yeah, yeah.
She passed now, but she was really interested in our language, and she was starting to learn when we talk and laugh, you know.
Mhm.
When we did Gilshwabi,
Mhm.
we'd use our language more,
Yeah.
and she was catching on, you know. She was just by hanging around with us, you know,
Mm-hmm.
being with us. And the guy, though, he hung around with our husbands, but you know, he only knew the dirty words, him.
Dick Inkman,
Yeah,
right? Dick Inkman.
yeah,
Yeah.
they was
Mhm.
really close friends.
Oh yeah, they're good people.
So they, you know, a lot of non-Indians out there are interested, and I'm glad, you know.
Mhm.
Like, say if they ever have a Indian foster child, you know,
Mhm.
they could teach that. They could teach, because like I said, there's a lot of lost Indians out
Yeah.
there, you know.
Yep.
And plus down them 4 roads, you know,
Mhm.
where they said that's leading to the Indian campgrounds, or where the Indians go when they when they die.
Mhm.
There's 4 roads they take, and
Yeah.
somebody, I don't know who was saying that though, but they said, well, when we get back over there, everything will be like it was the day
Mhm.
the day it was over,
Yep.
when all the old Indians were together.
Mhm.
It'll be, you know,
Mhm.
everybody will be talking the same language.
Yep.
Everybody will be doing things, you know.
Mhm.
But I often wonder, you know. I know this guy told us a dream about him traveling to the spirit world, and so I don't know. Really, I never dreamt about going to but I had a dream. How it is when you're going, everything turns white,
Mm.
just white, and that's all I seen was like a cone shape right in front of my eyes, white, and I was going down that white cone, and then I woke up before I got to the end. If I probably would have kept going, I probably would have died in my sleep, probably, you know.
Mhm.
Because now I know now that's how you go, you know. I'll see white, gi gago and gi awia gi
Yeah. Very soon.
Ni win.
Ni
Ni win.
Ni
To
win.
buy, or how'd you say that? Minutes.
4 minutes.
yeah, Niwin, geez, I can't remember how you say minutes. There is a word for minute.
Mm.
There's a word for
Well, we're down to 3 minutes, and 3 minutes we're trying to recall is the amount of time that you got to start calling in. What was the number again, Auntie?
218-750-7268.
And you're gonna win yourself a prize. It's Agashi Daka
Doc.
Dakasijikan.
Yeah.
Dakasajukan. Yep.
Oh, Jess
Mini fridge.
Jess Anderson said, "Is it bumgy at to go a little bit?
Yeah.
Is that another word for it? Oh, okay.
For what?
A little bit. Bumgy at to go.
No, that would be used in a different sentence. Like,
Yep.
say you have little bits food. Bungi at to go we sini win the gidan, or bungi nita Anishinaabe mo win bungi. I know how to talk the Indian language a little bit, bungi. And then like, what did I say? What did she say about
Bungie yet to go.
bungi?
She said, bumgy at to go a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Or when someone's giving you some food and you don't want much, you just say, Bungi, Bungi, I have to go just a little bit. You know, Bungi, little bit. You know, a little one, little thing or whatever, a little is,
Ashi.
gashi.
Oh, gashi.
Yeah,
Agashi.
gashi. Like you would say a little boy. Gashi agwewisas.
Mm.
Little boy.
Mm.
Gashi agwewisas. You know.
And that would be more like stature, right? Just
Yeah.
a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like a gashi. Gashi kwe. You know, that little girl
Mhm.
is, you know, small.
Yep.
That was small.
Mm-hmm.
Agashi. And the bungi is, you use it different.
And then what Perry and Graham are looking for are words used, 5 words?
5 words.
5 words that are used with the
Ricing
ricing time.
season, yeah.
So you could say, you know, the ricing moon, you could say knocking sticks, you could say boat, you could say push pole, you could say,
Knocking sticks.
yep, knocking sticks, you could say
Wild rice.
wild rice itself, you could say,
Planting basket.
Nuskachigan.
yep,
Or, yeah, you could say any kind of ricing material that you used to go out
mhm.
with.
You could even say bugs, spiders,
Yeah. Yeah.
or a scarf. How would you say like a scarf, a woman's, like a head scarf, something like that? I'll let you think about that. I always pull these questions out to Auntie,
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, let me think. But yeah,
Scarf.
and yeah, so go ahead, give us a call now. What was the number?
218-750-7268.
Yeah, 750-7268.
Gonna butch.
Yep.
No.
And then, yeah, 750-7268.
Give it a try anyway.
Yeah, just 5 words.
Kweni mine kwe minawa. That means I'm gonna drink again. Mine kwe.
Yippee.
Noonday mine kwe means I'm thirsty. Noonday mine kwe.
Noonday, noonday minique.
Mhm.
Hear that one, Tone? Noonday minique.
Tony, noonday mine kwe.
Yeah.
Wait then.
Gabe gijik. Yeah, all day.
While we're waiting, can you translate this for me, Graham?
Yeah.
So Charles Grola commented on the language post about that girl with the language nest, talking about the language nest. He said, "Waya anin dana, waya anin dana." What is that?
You see, Anin.
Anin dana.
He would be saying, he would
Not yet.
be saying, Aya Anin Dana.
Aya nin dana.
Anin Dana. That means, what does that mean or something?
Oh, that's how you say, what does that mean? Aya anin dana.
Yeah.
Aya anin dana.
Anin, we would say Anin Dana.
Anin dana. I have to write that down. So boys for it would just say anin dana.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he says, Anin izichige oma. Anin izichigeng oma.
What we're doing here? Zichuke Oma.
Ningagwe giknu omage ojibwe moin.
We're teaching the language.
Ningagwe giknu omage ojibwe moin.
We
We're
say
teaching the language, or I'm teaching the language in
Yeah,
Ningagwe.
Anishinaabe Moen. We don't say Ojibwe Moen. Anishinaabe Moen.
So that's how you see, what does that mean? Anin dana.
Well, I think maybe he's taking offense to the public school.
Yeah.
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 So, I think that's like we're already doing that in the public school that I'm working at or place that I'm working, but that's not what I think
Like
the the question was. Yeah, I think it's just more, you know, I mean, it's great that
Yeah.
that they're doing this stuff in the public schools and you know, very commendable. Like right here, Bijan Ryan, he does a great job, you know, of exposing the kids to not only just the language but culture and also just some of the things that we do, you know, on a calendar basis. So, you know, like the sugar camps and the rice camps and all that good stuff.
At
Is that
Fond du
all?
Lac, oh yeah, go ahead.
Is that all he said? May have to go and get it.
Gawin. So Gnu Gijik, he's the admin for that page. I'll have to add you to this page. He replied to, I understand what he said. He responded, he said, Charles Grola, Manu, let it be.
Let it be.
Let it go.
Manu.
Manu, he said, Ginandawi, Owe, Megwa Giknu Aguyan, Ginandawi, Owe, Megwa Giknu Aguyan. So, Ginandawi, am I saying it right? It's Ginandawi away. Megwa Giknoyaguyan.
Yeah. Let them teach the way they want it.
Is that what he's saying?
Mm.
Let them teach the way they want to? Okay, then he's responded, he said, Aho,
Yes, okay.
Migu Manu, I'll let it go.
Yeah.
Aho Migu Manu, I'll let it go. Ningi Gagwe, Ujubwe Motawag, Igiweg, Ubinujiu Kapane, Gamishkwa, Wa Kukuk, Gamishkwa, Wa Kukuk. I know I'm saying that one part wrong.
He's saying he's teaching the kids the language.
Yep. Yep, Ningi Gagwe, I'm teaching the kids the language. Igiweg, Ubinujiu Kapane, Igweg. Oh, there's a caller. Here we go.
Alright.
On.
Yep. Yeah, there we go.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Renee Barto on Disneycause.
Bonjour, Renee. Can you say 5 words?
Yeah, but I don't want to win the prize. You can just keep it.
Okay.
I was waiting and nobody was calling in.
No. Hardly anybody.
Yeah, and it could be anybody that could call in.
Okay. Nanin, Manomen, Ikadun. 5 wild rice words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nibi, water.
Yeah. Maybe.
Jiman, boat.
Yeah.
Abra, cattle.
Yeah. A boot.
Manomen, wild rice.
Yeah.
A kick, kettle.
Yeah.
Mazanik, calf.
Yep.
Wisenen, food.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We send the win.
Yeah, we send the wind. Now this one's tongue twisted for me.
Yeah. That's
Manun Menegik.
Manomenike. Manomenike.
Yeah, just think of
Yeah, racing one.
Nike, Nikkei. Yep.
Yeah. But
Okay.
Karen,
Mm-hmm.
can you say the racing prayer?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'll have Perry, since he's learning to say the rising prayer, Perry.
Okay. So with a sama on your left hand, don't put the tobacco down yet. You just say, Na mani du gita bandan zagekan. Nagibi nagu sama. Gimanomen kamen. Migwich money do gaminagu manomen. I know I kind of said it fast, but we'll figure out a way to.
Just say nah, look.
I say,
Manidug, nah, manidug, look, spirits. You could say,
Oh, yep.
nah, manidug.
Not Maniduk.
Yeah. Negi just doing. Negi just doing. Sedun, Sama.
Yeah.
Sama. I'm putting down tobacco. Nagijis Sedun, Sama. Gi Manoman Kamen.
Gi Manoman
Kamen. Yeah. So we're
We are
rising.
racing?
Yeah. Miigwech Manedug.
Miigwech Manedug.
Giminiku Manoman.
Give me a good Manoman.
Yeah, Miigwech.
Yeah, Miigwech. Thank
Thank
you for giving me
Yeah,
rice.
yeah. Miigwech Giminikus Manoman. Manedug. Manedug is look spirits. Niki, I'm giving you some tobacco and to put in the water before you go racing for the rice that we eat. Yeah, that was a nice little little refrigerator would be good for any college kids or that they could take in their dorms or
Yeah.
whatever, but we don't get much. That's too bad we don't get much callers. We got a lot of stuff, well, not a lot, but we have 2 patents cards, and we have one to L&M Fleet Supply, and we have one from Cub Foods from Duluth, and so
And that's what I said. I said, I'm not going to call in because I don't want to win that refrigerator because I donated it.
yeah.
But nobody was calling. And it
yeah,
was killing me.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you called in anyway.
Okay,
Okay,
Miigwech.
yeah, Miigwech.
Yeah.
Bye.
Miigwech.
Yeah. What does that say?
Got a missed call. Is that a number you recognize?
Yeah. Okay, you want to going over some?
Hello? Can you hear my voice on the radio?
Go. Let me see if I can hear you.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You want to be saying that prayer in just a little. I'll take this call here.
Yeah. So.
How do you take it? This?
Oh, you're trying to call back?
Yeah.
You just go like that.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, so I'll go over the outline again. Manoman Ke Gizis. Rice Harvesting Moon. G-Mon Canoe. Wigawasi Makuk. Birch Bark Container. Mazan. Rice Dust or Chaff. A kick. Kettle or pail. A bui. Paddle. Bawa Iganak. Knocker. A boa iganakuk is knockers. Plural version. Manominike, he or she harvests rice. Manominike min, we are harvesting rice. Bawaam,
Now I'm busy up
he or she knocks rice. Bawishkum, he or she dances on the rice. And Nuskachike, he or she fans the rice. Ricing soon, hopefully. I read an email that they said maybe 2 weeks from now.
Oh yeah, I know. They went to check Manoman Nungum. They went to check on the Chijiman, on the big boat. Chijiman. Okay.
Oh, the airboat?
Yeah. Okay. Manomanike, Manomanike min, that means when we're gonna rise, not me though. But Anina P, Manomanike. See, that's Manomanike. I'll make sentences into all of these words here. Hang on.
Well, maybe while you're doing that, I can give an update on the weather
Okay.
and what's coming up on KBFT here.
Okay.
I'm going to turn you down here. Well, just let me know when you're ready. And sorry about that. Here we are. Okay, you're listening to KBFT 89.9 FM, broadcasting from Nett Lake, Minnesota. And you are listening to the Karen Drift Language Anishinaabe Moen Show. And we usually do this every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to noon. So we got about another 45 minutes or so left. And Auntie Karen is just getting a couple sentences ready for you for usage of the ricing words. Ricing season is upon us, and that's what we call Manumanike. He or she goes ricing, or is ricing. And along with that, let me see here. Today, weather-wise, we are looking at some beautiful weather, some beautiful ricing weather, for sure. And if we were able to be out on the lake, we'd be looking at 77 degrees out there currently. And might get a little on the warm side today for ricing. Yeah, you'd have to have a lot of water with you. Just keep yourself hydrated, and do so anyway, as just it's going to be warm. Let's see, your dew point right now is 63, your humidity is at 61%, so it probably more on the dry side of heat, and your pressure right now is 29.88 inches of mercury, and your winds are out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour. Your visibility is 10 miles. Yeah, so pretty clear day, beautiful out there. And let's see here, your average high usually on this day is 72, and your average low for the overnight is right around 48 degrees. So we're looking pretty normal. And for today, your short range forecast, and this is brought to you by weatherology.com, and it says lots of sunshine outside with highs around 84 degrees, winds out of the southwest 8 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday night, your forecast calls for lows leveling off around 64 under partly cloudy skies with a slight chance for scattered thunderstorms late. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, and your chance of precip overnight is 20%. And for your Friday, yeah, nanan yijagut. And let's see here, you are looking at a mix of clouds and sun with a slight chance for scattered storms early. Otherwise, high temperatures reaching up to 74 degrees, your winds turning west 8 to 15 miles per hour, and your chance of precip tomorrow is 20%. Yeah, so that's your short range forecast, and all the way through the weekend, it's looking pretty
September.
beautiful.
There's
one of them.
My buddy
There's
Tony's looking
August.
forward to
It's August?
doing some traveling. We're going to go down on Sunday for the Water is Life event down at Bayfront Festival Park in Duluth. Yeah, got a full day of music lined up, and that is the Water is Life event. And yeah, so come on down. There's a full schedule of that. I think we have something
But you can
posted
use
up on our
Manomanike
Facebook,
Jesus.
which
The
will
moon of
give you
ricing
the
occurring in
details
August or
of
September.
what's happening down there. So, music. Otherwise, it is Labor Day weekend, long weekend. Make sure you get your meds. Yeah, if you're out there listening, maybe you figured you'd get them today. Let's see, today's Thursday, yeah. So you still got time tomorrow. Pick up your meds before the long weekend. And what else is there? Native America Calling. Coming up at noon today on Native America Calling. This is Thursday, September 1st. Yeah, first day of September. Definitely, I finally noticed how late or how early the sunset is. Bengashimo, right? Auntie?
Yeah, Bangishimog.
Bengashimo, yeah.
Bangishimog.
Bengishimo. And so yeah, that's what we're taking photographs of yesterday evening, and it was early. It was like 7, I believe it was 7:48 or something like that. So definitely lost some sunlight there compared to, let's see, it's been a busy month for me. All kinds of different challenges going on, but yeah, made it through and we're here. And yeah, all of a sudden the page is turning. But Native America Calling is new challenges for Native voters, and the graphic says every vote counts. And here's the storyline. The Native American Rights Fund and other organizations filed a legal challenge against the state for discounting ballots in a way that disproportionately affects Alaskan Native voters. The Mississippi Supreme Court upheld voter restrictions in the state constitution originally instituted by white supremacists, specifically to limit participation by people of color. Thursday on Native America Calling, Sean Spruce gets a rundown of the evolving landscape of voter restrictions that affect Native Americans, and I'm pretty sure that's going to extend into other state discussions. But yeah, one of the other headlines I'm sure they'll be talking about today is that there was a Native Alaskan there that defeated one of the more famous, what was her name again, the Republican lady up there in one of their pre-votes, but they're set for another showdown later on in the November election, so they're going to square off again. Kind of interesting voting system that's going on up there, or election system. But anyhow, that's what's going on today's Native America Calling. And I think Auntie has her sentences ready to roll for you, usage for our vocabulary today.
Okay. Okay. Nungum today. Okay. Wati Bagagizis is September. Leaves changing moon. Wa te Bagagizis. If you can just put that. Bagagizis. Wati Bagagizis. When you say it, when you know how to say it, you say it fast. Wati Bagagizis. Nungum. What the old people would call it was Shamiguan. Gishigat. That means feeding day. Shamig. Like that's how you would say feed somebody. Gida shamig away. You should feed him. Feed them. Shamig. Shamig. And that's what the old people used to call the first of the month. Shamiguan. So you would say feeding. Shamiguan gishigat. Gida shamigu. Feed me. Shamig. That's another way to say feed me. Shamig. Shamig. S-H-U-M-I-G. Shamig.
Shamik.
Yeah. Gida shamig. You should feed me.
I want to see if I got this right. So he says, oh, I just like that I can ask you to translate something in it. Okay, so yeah, he says, Ahau miku manu. Okay, I'll let it go.
Yeah.
Nengi gagwe o jibwe mo tuwag igiweg binujiag bene. And I know what he's saying. I teach the...
I'm always talking to the kids.
I'm always talking.
Or teaching the kids.
And then this other one is Red Lake School. Gamisko wa kokag. Gamisko.
Misko.
Misko.
You see red.
Yep, Gamisko. Misko wa kokag. Gikunu amadi wi gamigung. Amadi wi gamigung.
Red Lake School.
Red Lake School. Nendu Jibwem and Dasu Gijik.
I talk Indian all day.
Nindum Jibwem and Dasu Gijik. I talk Indian all day. Okay, and then he responds. This is the last one. I want to get to the point where I understand everything. So, because it's two fluent speakers. All right. What to those just listening in? My grandmother's helping me translate two fluent speakers talk about an issue in Anishinaabe country. about schools, language, and revitalization. This is important. It's important. If you get so Gnu Gijik responds. He says, again, he reiterates, "Mano niji,
Yeah.
let it go, my friend."
Yeah.
He says, "Buchigo na enaguk dagikno magayan and gujiko and dashi no kian."
And the cook is hard. It's
Hard. But what is buchigo?
Buchigo. Buchigo would be Buchigo. You're doing on something on your own. Buchigo.
Oh, okay. Buchigo na enaguk dagikno magayan and gujiko and dashi no kian.
Now,
So
when I go somewhere to work or Pinukian.
and then he also says, Geyenin in Da Nukiu public school.
Yeah, I would like to work at the
Public school. Oh, I would like to work at the public school.
At a public school.
Okay, that's all. No, because it's crazy. It's crazy to see two fluent speakers like talking about
Yeah.
important
You
issues.
should hear them talking together on that. Really sounds good, you know. Well, anyway, Monomenike Jesus, that's August. That's rising moon. Me Gegago, Monomenike Jesus. It's almost a rice harvesting. That's how you would use, or you would ask somebody, Genomenike? No? Wabang? Are you going ricing tomorrow? Are you going rice? Are you going to go make rice tomorrow? Manomenike? Ina wabang?
Na wabang.
Gawin idasin Jiman. No, I don't have a vote. Manomenike gizis ina Gawin idasi Jiman. I don't have a vote. So if you hear somebody saying that in Indian, you'll know as you Kidwan what they're saying. Manomenike wabang. You're asking a question to somebody. Manomenike wabang. The person will say Gawin. No. Gawin nidasi Jiman. No, I don't have a boat. Okay, then there's the one word Jiman. Nigi Gawin Jiman nidasi Gidagwe Jiman mama Nigi Abjia or Jiman. I don't have a boat, but ask your mom if you can use her boat. That's a long sentence, but Gawin Jiman Nigada Si Gidagwe Jima Mama Gida we're going to make ask your mother. Gi Abjitun or Abjia Ujiman use her boat. Abjia or Abjitun her boat. Another one you could use is Bama Iskwa no Manikamin. Wait till after we get off racing. Gida Kapisige. Gida Abjia a kick. When we get off racing, can we use your kick, your like where the parch rice in your kettle or whatever, or you could say okada kick, but a kick is just kind of easier to after we get done racing. Jibwa Manomenik came in after we get done racing. Gidog opposite came in. We should part race. Gidogwe Jama Ogi what did I say that? Abaji a kick.
Bajiakik.
use their kettle. And Gawin Abui is a paddle. The Dada Ogi Shetun Abui. Away basic Abui Ogi Bukska. My dad is making a paddle. That paddle, the other paddle we have is broke. Or else you could say, away, Gishatun. He's making Abui. Gishatun Abui. Making a paddle. Abui. Gishatun Abui. Making paddle. And you could say, away Abui Ogi. What did I say? Break. Ogi. Bukska. Broke. And away. I'll use my grandpa here. Away, Nimishumis. Ogi Jituna Boa Iginak. Ogi Gwejama Ani Neshchigain. My grandpa's making knocking sticks. They asked him, what are you making? Ani Neshchigain. Ani Neshchigain, what are you doing? Ingi Ogi Kiddo. He said, Nigi Jituna Boa Iginakug. I'm making knocking sticks. Boa Iginak is just one. Boa Iginak is more than one.
Nagijatun.
Boa Iginakug.
Boa Iginakug.
I'm making knocking sticks.
That sounds an awful lot like Ogina too. When you say Ogina too, what does that mean? Lost?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Sorry, Grandma.
I said that about the paddle. Ogi Shitun Abui. Ogi Nitun Away Abui lost the paddle. So he's
Ogina
making.
Tun. Oh, wow.
Negi Shitun is, see, you could say me. I'm making Negi Shitun. Negi Shitun. Jiman. I made a boat. Negi Shitun. Wigawasi Jiman. I'm making a birch bark boat or canoe. And there's another one here. Meatago Quaig, only ladies. New Scotch Gaog. Only ladies span rice, Merisha, long time ago. Meatago a Quaig, New Scotch Nog, New Scotch Gay. Monomen. The only ladies span rice. Merisha. Long time ago. Merisha means long ago. You had to go Quaig. And there's, you could use like, may had to go ninio go giboish kamuk. Only men could dance on the rice. Going Quaig, no ladies. Ogi Bosh dog away Manomen. They would kind of like make the rice sick or something if a lady did that. Wishkam danced on the rice because they wouldn't allow ladies to, I suppose because they wear skirts, and I haven't seen, the only ones I seen Bawishkam at my place is my husband Shashawa Nagishik Minawa away will be Bibunikan.
All right, we're going to let Auntie Karen take her call here.
Hello.
Must be something important.
Hello.
So anyhow, yeah, you're listening to KBFT 89.9 FM, broadcasting from Ned Lake, Minnesota, streaming
Hello.
online at www.kbft.org. And you're listening to the Karen Drift Anishinaabe language show. Language show.
Hello.
But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing here. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. to noon, and we're just approaching the last half hour here. About 25 minutes to go, and just giving you a little information on what we got coming up on KBFT. Like I said, we got Native America Calling coming up, and that's brought to you by Native Voice 1 and KBFT. And let's see here, today's subject is new challenges for Native voters. Every vote counts. Native American Rights Fund and other organizations filed a legal challenge against the state of Alaska for discounting ballots in a way that disproportionately affects Alaska Native voters. The Mississippi Supreme Court upheld voter restrictions in the state constitution originally instituted by white supremacists, specifically to limit participation by people of color. Thursday on Native America Calling, Sean Spruce gets a rundown of the evolving landscape of voter restrictions that affect Native Americans. Yeah. So that's today on Native America Calling. Getting tongue-tied here, but yeah. Auntie Karen had to step out and take care of some personal business, so we are here with Perry. You got any more information that you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, so she wanted me to talk about my first racing experience.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'll just go shortly into that.
Okay.
I think 11, I was like 11, 12, no, 10,
Mm-hmm.
around that area. And I remember being overwhelmed with, I just, all I remember is being nervous. But to all those young racers out there that are, you know, or parents that have kids that will be going racing soon, hopefully, that, yeah, just don't be scared. Just Gegu's Eggs again. Don't be scared. Go out there. Race hard. You know, it's hard work, you know, staying out in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Paddling, you know, you get, if you're the one paddling and, you know, you get hit with that rice, you know, it happens. Remember a few times I've been slapped in the back of the neck.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. I got deep memories of all that. Being a young boy and then paddling my dad around, and you know, there's different styles of knocking. You know, people that knock.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have that can just sail them right into your back and just drill them. You know,
Yep.
and it'll sting. And then sometimes some of them will, I don't know, just the way they knock, they'll drill them right into the back of your head sometimes, you know. But then there's other ones where you'll never even feel it at all, you know, as you're out there. But yeah, and you know, one of the goals that you want to do is, of course, when you're out there as a young knocker, is learn how to get the most rice without damaging the rice, you
Yep.
know, the stalks and all that kind of stuff. And then yeah, get as much as you can and be efficient about it. And that's one of the things that you want to work with your partner. And sometimes, you know, I guess you have, you know, you learn that there's partners that work very well, and then there's some that you know, like one individual that I raced with, they were really tippy. And I don't know if it was the canoe, maybe it didn't have a keel on the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time that they would knock, they would reach over for the rice, and it would kind of, you know, tip the boat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Close calls,
yeah,
like
close
just-
calls. Yeah, I mean,
Oh
at least
my
to me, anyway. I don't know if it was the same thing to them, but yeah. And yeah, so don't be scared, like you said. You know, the water's not that deep. I mean, I've gone over, I think twice. I remember one time we just got across the lake, me and my dad, and just got into the rice and decided to take a little break. You know, probably about 10, 12, 15 minutes of paddling, you know, to get across. And it was down towards Popple Creek, yeah. And so when we got there, it was like, okay, let's get set here, you know, set our lunch bags where they needed to be and put our seat pads where they needed to be, and then, you know, get ready to go. And then it's kind of optional, you know, whether you want to paddle them around. It all depends on how dense the rice is and how comfortable your partner is. And then sometimes you can get out there and you can push pull. So that's always an option too. But when you were young, continue on when you were out there. Let us know.
Yep. And it's too, another reason is people say, well, why should I go racing? You know, it's, you think about the old story we talked about a few weeks ago, you know, the rice, almost said the lice, the rice is what led us here centuries ago, you know, centuries ago, that monomen, the good berry or the good rice, or that's what led us here, you know, as a people. So there's a spiritual, you know, history and significance of it. And there's no better feeling after you come off the lake with 200 pounds, 150 pounds of rice, whatever it is. You know, it's whatever amount you get is it's hard work, you know. And I remember my dad was telling me that story. He was polling for Grandpa, and he said he accidentally dropped that pole on his head a couple times.
Yeah.
And he said that second time, he said Grandpa got mad and hit him with that knocking stick. So it's like you know, you learn. He said, but he told me, he said, after I did that, I never dropped that pole again, you know, because it's like the conditions out there, people just don't believe it. Like, you can be in really uncomfortable conditions where you're paddling or poling for 30-40 minutes straight, and you lose grip of those paddles or those poles, you know. Don't feel bad, you know. That's why they say that's legit, like,
Yeah.
hard work.
Giggle ganupshka. Giggle ganupshka. That means don't tip over. Ganupshka.
Ganupshka.
That's what this old lady was. Just got off shore, and their boat tipped. And that's what she was. She was only standing on her knees up to the water, and she was hollering. She was saying, "Ganupshka, man!" We tipped over. Gisaba way, man. That means we're going to drown. Gisaba way, man. That's what drown means in Saba way.
Say that again, Grandpa. I'm gonna write it down.
Ginupshka min. Ginupshka min. We're gonna tip over. We tipped over. Ginupshka is just tip over. Ginupshka min.
And then Saba Wayman.
Saba way. We're drowning. The Saba way min.
Nisaba Wayman.
Yeah. Saba way would just be drowned. Saba way.
We're drowning.
Saba way. You know, I see a lot of, you know, that's one thing I never did all while I was racing was tip over. No, I seen a lot of people tip over out there when, you know, in a lake on Zagi Igan, Ogi Napskaug. They tipped over Ogi Napskaug boy. Anishinaabe Gishbin Ogi Monominike Ogo Gilsquabe when they went out racing drunk, that's when they would get upshka.
And they would always would they say Gegu Bapananama? Don't laugh because that could happen to you. They used to say.
Don't laugh at anybody. Bopin is laugh. Gegu Bapananama Awea.
Yeah, and that's a skill, getting back into your boat or your canoe. You know, you gotta know balance and know how to flip your canoe back up, get the water out of it, and yeah, so those things. I know Squidge has been kind of teaching these young kids how to maneuver in their canoe, and I don't know if he's had any, what do you call it? Well, in camp, like we used to go up to Isabella, and what they would do is they would practice. Well, they call it swamping your canoe, and basically just tipping over. How do you say that again? Tipping over?
Ginabshkamen.
Yeah.
Ginabshkamen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would practice that and purposely tip ourselves over, and then once we were in the water, we would kind of learn how to flip the canoe back over and then crawl back into it. So that's a useful skill, you know, possibly when you're out there. I remember, I think I almost tipped over Carlene one time, and I think Cynthia, me and Cynthia, we both almost tipped each other over. I remember I got one leg in, and she leaned just quick over to the other side, and so I caught myself. I only had one leg into the water, yeah, but she balanced me out, and I was able to crawl back in. But I was cold for the rest of the day because it was cloudy that day, a little bit misty, but you know, it wasn't too miserable since we're out there already. But yeah, and that's all part of, you know, the whole deal of getting out there. And I would say the most rewarding thing about being out there, at least being young, was just seeing the learning that, you know, all that hard work, what it can get you, you know, especially back in them days when we, you know, could get our school clothes, you know, we could get, I remember I got a motorcycle out of the deal, a dirt bike.
Buy a
you
new
know.
car.
Yeah, and later on, buy a new car. Of course, you could harvest enough to, you know, trade. I mean, we used to trade. Actually, I think that was my first car. How we got my first car was trading in, I think, about 500 pounds of rice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so there's dealers that are out there that'll take it too, you know, at least some of the old school ones anyway. And one of the ones that we used to deal with all the time was Iron Trail. I know they're under new ownership, but they'd probably be willing to take a deal on that. And you could find anybody, you know, that you want to sell it to, and especially anybody in the Twin Cities, you know. I mean, all these new fancy native chefs that are coming around, I'm sure they need wild rice, you know. So it's all about getting out there. Oh, I know. Whole Foods. I remember I had a deal with Whole Foods. I must have sold to them for at least about 12, 15 years, you know, maybe longer with my mom and them. But yeah, so there's all these deals that you can do out there, and I think just as a young person, that's a real good opportunity.
Yeah, I know that. That's how we got Pete's first car.
Mm-hmm.
We sold like 500 pounds of wild rice.
Yep.
And he had a nice car.
Mm.
And then I took him on his 18th birthday to Fortune Bay.
Yeah, that's
They
right.
were giving a new car away. Here I bought him one card, and he won on that card. And there was two other ladies that 3 of them won.
Mm.
So whoever picked the right truck keys would get the
Get
right car.
The vehicle, yeah.
Yeah. So he was the first one to dig in that bag, and he
Mhm.
said he could feel like truck keys.
Mm.
So he put them down, and he picked the right keys, and they told him to go start that car. Here it started.
Mm-hmm.
Them ladies were just crying.
Oh, oh no.
But he was going to college too in Virginia at Anishinaabe,
Yeah.
and so he won that new car. Then he sold his that old car.
Uh-huh.
We sold 500 pounds of rice for. He sold that to Kurt Drift that time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that rice can do you
Mm-hmm.
some good, you know.
Oh,
plus
yeah.
eating.
You just got to get out there and you know where to sell it and who to talk to. Usually, it's like all the managers of these businesses, especially the Whole Foods places, Natural Foods. Virginia, the co-op, I think it is, over there. They used to buy a lot of our rice. You know, back when we used to go out there every year. I think the most that we ever did was the year that my dad passed away in '96. We must have did over 2,400 pounds of finished rice. I mean, that's a lot of rice. I remember we had it all stacked up in the back. There were probably 5 piles of, I think, I want to say 10 or 12 bags. We'd have them all piled up. And so that must have been over like 40, 50 bags of rice that we processed, green rice, you know, just hand parching it and all that. So
I honestly think that era was the golden era for ricing, because I used to see Sun everybody two boatloads a day.
yeah,
Ricers could. That's how. I don't know. Did it have anything to do with how bountiful the rice was, or
The
Probably.
dams, the rice flow into the lake, you know.
yeah, yeah.
The dams raised heck with most of it.
I think it was the dams, because when they straightened out that river, it used to zigzag, wind, you know, just like a natural river will. And I think we were thinking is if they just opened it up, made it a straight shot, that it would improve the flow of the water. Well, it did, but with that meandering zigzag flow into the lake must have warmed up the water enough, you know what I mean, to a certain temperature. And I'm sure it's only a matter of 1 or 2 degrees maybe, or 3 or 4 degrees, where it mattered, you know, how the rice developed and how much of it was able to grow. Wild rice is wild because it will grow in all kinds of conditions, you know, whether it's low water, high water, but there's only a percentage of it, I'm sure, that will grow in any particular condition. And so when they took those bends out of that river, the zigzag pattern, it not only warmed up, or not only kept the water cooler, but it also sped it up. So the water was coming in more faster into the lake, and so it wasn't getting a chance to warm up to where it did naturally. So I think right now there were plans, I heard them talking maybe about 5 years ago, that they were gonna find money to slow down the flow of the river and maybe put them zigzags back into the river after the dam. So it's just something that, you know, nature figures out. And I think the beavers probably have a big role in it too. They keep the water at a certain level.
And the muskrat.
Yep, the muskrats.
Then they used to clean the rivers every spring.
Yep,
you know.
yep, they
Log
keep
jams
those clear, right?
Mhm.
Because I remember my dad used to go out there, and other probably community members, fathers that were my dad's age, they would go out there and they would blast, you know, some of the blockages and all that kind of stuff, and some crazy stories that they could tell about blowing up some of these dams or whatever it was. But yeah, so a lot of that activity, you know, we don't get a report on that and how that what's happening today. We see that machine that goes out there, and that was the one thing that they were worried about, was all of the muck that's at the bottom,
yeah.
you know. So that part of it, they're wondering about the varying depths, and they were saying, well, maybe it's the depth of the water. It's not deep enough, you know, as it used to be, because that muck collects, you know, and builds up at the bottom. So that's kind of what they were pulling up from that machine that they have that goes out there now. And of course they're trying to get rid of all the lily pads. I think the lily pads are a big issue, a big problem, you know, because they grow back so fast, and there's not anything chemically that they can do that won't harm both the wild rice and take care of the lily pads. So we need to get our DNR up here and do a show like this and kind of keep everybody informed of what they've been doing, and maybe get some more community input.
You know, a long time ago, I don't know what year it was, but the rice was too low. You couldn't even knock it over into your boat. It was really below the boat.
Yep.
You know, I don't know how it's gonna be later on, like years to come. I don't know if it'll be, we'll slowly lose it all, or just whatever happens with our rice. Like I say, I not keep dreaming, but I dreamt about the lake. It was all there was no water at all out there, and it looked just like a big puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I could see old bike tire things out, and I was gonna walk to the island, but I woke up before I could get out there and walk to the island.
Mm.
So maybe someday they're gonna see that, someday. Not in our time, maybe.
Well, you can kind of see a little bit of the difference from like I believe it was the 1940s. I seen some pictures of, they were calling it Girls Landing, and it was really like rocky, and the shore is nowhere close to being rocky nowadays, So just in that, 50 years, 60 years since I can remember anyway, it wasn't like that. And so I don't know if the water was really low in them days, or how it was.
Then we had sandy beaches.
Yep.
And we could walk all the way from Strong's Landing to Girls Landing.
Yeah. Yep.
Boys Landing.
Mhm.
We could walk all of that far.
Yep.
Just, and they were kept clean and good, but the people kept their what do you call their lake shores where there's like Strong's Landing, Smith's Landing,
Yeah.
all of them, and they kept it really good, clean,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, you could see a lot of that in these historical pictures. It just looked like, if a dock was set up today and everything else, the canoes and everything, you could tell that they were, like brand new and looking really nice. And
Yeah, they would never, nobody would ever steal, rob, like
yeah.
boats or race heck with boats, and you could keep everything. Nowadays, they shoot at them or whatever,
Yeah.
You can't leave them around
Right.
the lakes. Everybody brings their boats up, too
Yeah, I know.
bad,
When I
too
was
sad that way.
Yeah. And even them days, we'd even be able to go down to the lake and, just take our boat from Ricing earlier during the day, and then we could take them out and go hunting, and then just leave them down there, But that's not the story today. I know everybody goes down there. They say, don't leave your boat down there,
Yeah. Diog, they'll steal it. You sure not Shigeog, they'll race heck with it.
Yeah.
Sure not Shigeog away.
How do you say don't steal? Gego Muchwe?
Gego,
Oh, excuse me.
Gego, Gemud can, don't
Gego
steal.
Gemut.
Gemud is steal.
Mm-hmm.
Gemuti Nini, I know him. No. Gemuti Nini.
So yeah, Ricing time is here, and hopefully we get to see everybody out on the lake. Like Perry was saying, all of our young ones, don't be scared. Don't get out there, give it a try. Even if you just get a little bit, the whole experience is something else. I mean, just to get out there and spend time with your brother, your sister, your cousin, your auntie, your uncle, your mom, your dad, it's all worth that time. That's that kind of time that you're missing, while you're sitting there on your phone. And so it just gives you a nice experience, I would think, nowadays, compared to what it would be otherwise,
Yep. And if you ever have any questions, just ask me. If you need anything, like to know anything, like, well, how do I knock, or when I'm paddling somebody, what routes do I take? I'll give you one tip. Be like, so never turn your boat around in the rice bed. Wait till you're out, because what that I realize this now. What that can do when you're turning the boat around to go back into the thicker parts to get more.
Yep.
I didn't know that can damage that rice stalk if
Oh
you
yeah,
turn
when you're
around.
turning around right inside the rice bed. Yep.
Yep. So that's one little tip, and then just knock the rice gently. Don't hit it too hard because, like George said earlier, you don't want to damage the rice.
Mhm.
Okay, meal.
Yep.
Okay, did you get how to say smoke? Bakweni.
Bakweni.
Yeah.
Bakweni.
Smoke. Bakweni.
Bakweni.
And then when you want to say smoky, you say bakweni magat. Bakweni magat.
Smoky.
Yeah,
Okay.
smoky. Bakweni.
All right, I think that's gonna do it.
Yeah, me.
Meet you, miigwech, bizindan wieg, and we'll see you for the Karen Drift.
Nijo Gijakat next week.
Yep, next week. Okay, so next Tuesday, next Thursday for Anishinaabe Mowin with Karen Drift.